English and French interpretation this afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to this workshop where we're going to discuss, well, what the French call food challenge rather than food security. Because indeed it is a challenge. I think that we should see it as such. It is one of the major challenges, in fact, of this 21st century. Anyhow, my name is Philippe Chalmin. I'm professor at Paris Dauphine University, and I'm also the founder of the Cercle Cyclope. Cercle Cyclope is this analysis of raw materials, of the market of raw materials and agricultural products. Then there are two further speakers this afternoon, and in fact this is where the magic of the World Policy Forum lies, because we do have participants from many countries. First of all, Mr. Kairat Umarov, who is the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Kazakhstan, as you know, is a major player on the world stage in terms of agricultural products. Kazakhstan, as well as several other former Soviet republics, such as Russia and Ukraine, have become very major exporting countries, that is, wheat exporting countries. Kazakhstan, as well as Russia and Ukraine, represent 1/3 of wheat exports on the world level. This is 2009 to 2010, and it is due to the drought and then the fires which spread in Russia that we've all seen on our TV screens, that we've realized that the availabilities coming from this area around the Black Sea shrunk, and this is what entailed the rise in prices which we have witnessed throughout the past 3 months. Then we will hear Mr. Yashwant Torad, and he put a question to Jean-Claude Trichet earlier on. He said, well, what does a former chief director and general executive director of the Reserve Bank of India contribute to a workshop dealing with food challenges? It is simply because Mr. Torad, during 35 years, was dealing with rural credit, and India is really the only major country which in 2008, when the food revolt started, didn't suffer too heavily. We remember that in Washington the Indian agriculture policy was criticized. However, it was the right measure, because India has practically reached a self-sufficient level in food terms, and this shows that its agricultural policy was the appropriate one. And you will see that credit has an important role to play, and we will also discuss later on the problems linked to biotechnology, the use of fertilizers, etc., and we can discuss this together with Mr. Torad. Now, the advantage of a meeting such as this one is that it's a small workshop, so we will be able to open up the discussions, and I've already been able to pinpoint a number of resourceful people that we will call upon, such as Mr. Roy, who is with us, who is one of the specialists in the input and especially fertilizer sector, and we know that this is one of the major problems linked to the development, the agricultural development of our planet. And I hope that Jean-Carles Doué, who participated this morning, will also be able to join us, because as you know, he is also specialized on the issue of biotechnology. Now, if I may, seeing that I'm the moderator of this workshop, I will perhaps start with a recap of the situation to see why. This morning, in fact, we discussed health issues, we discussed monetary issues, we discussed economic crisis. Now, why do we need to come back to agricultural issues? And why, at the beginning of the 21st century, we see that mankind is probably controlling technology, is controlling or is mastering at least time and space, and now we see that mankind is still facing food problems as was the case in a few centuries ago. Now 2008 to most of us was a violent crisis in the economic realm, the most important crisis that we've witnessed in the Second World War since 1929, actually. And perhaps it has been forgotten that in 2008 there was something else as well. Most of the raw material markets took off. Perhaps oil was practically at $250 a barrel, and this is what they discuss in next door, actually. And as well as metal prices increased heavily, and you will remember that the agricultural prices as well increased, and you will remember the pictures seen on television, on your television screens of the food revolts in a number of third world countries, which entailed the overthrow of the government in Haiti. Now, Haiti is possibly not the best example as far as governance is concerned, but a food shortage had led to this revolt in a number of countries, and this was due, of course, to this was followed by a number of other such issues, and the prices compared to those of 2006 had increased tremendously for the most important food stuff such as wheat, secondary cereals, soy, rice, or even dairy products. And therefore, we, in fact, at the end of the 2007 and 2008 campaign, we our stocks, agricultural reserves were very limited. You will also remember that early June 2008 there was an emergency meeting of the Food Summit in Rome, which was called together by FAO, and the major leaders in our planet participated. Everybody was very, very determined to look into agricultural issues, and I remember that Bob Zelig, the Director General of the World Bank, saying that this was the time for agriculture to be put back to the at the top of any development program. Now, why this had not been the case earlier on is a different issue. And then the agricultural problems or issues were overtaken by the economic crisis. As you know, there were so many other issues to handle, and it was easier perhaps to save bankers than farmers. This is a very traditional view, and indeed it was easier to save a number of banks and bankers rather than agricultural systems. And then the two agricultural years that followed, 2008 and 2009, or 2009 and 2010, were very satisfactory crops. In fact, excessive crops and excess crops, and the world prices came back to acceptable levels without falling to the level that the steep fall of the price, such as it was the case for oil. But there was a reduction, considerable reduction of the major markets, be this for cereal, maize, or rice.